Hey guys, welcome back to another Python programming tutorial. Today we're going to be making a program on how to figure out the average of student heights. So the first thing we want to do is make a variable called student heights. Great. And then we could write input. So this is what the program is actually going to be inputting. Input a list of, what do we want? Heights. There, and then we'll split that, I guess. Split. Okay, great. Okay. Now we want to make a list name. So this is going to be the list in where all the heights are going to be stored. So we can make for n in range, or any other letter, doesn't matter. 0 length student heights. Great. Now, what do we want to do? We want to actually balance student heights and then int student heights, because you realize how we didn't do int input. We need to actually balance those right now. So student underscore. Actually, I can just do this. Student heights, and then what is the list that we called? It was n gray equals int, and then student heights also finished with n. Okay, great. So this is up to you, but if you want to actually print student heights so that it would just make sure, instead of saying the average, it would also say the heights that you listed after in block parentheses. You could also do that. I'm just going to do it because why not? Okay. So, if you didn't know how average is calculated, let's say we have random heights of objects on your desk. We have 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters. Great. So, all these numbers are going to be stored in a list that we called n. Okay? And how average is calculated? Average equals the sum plus the length. Okay, great. So how do we actually get the sum? We can just put in pluses in every single space here, and that is our sum. The sum of this list is equal to 15. So, equals 15, right? Because the list is equal to 15. Average equals sum plus length. But also, what we didn't realize, what's stored in here is 5 numbers right here. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. And that's what we actually need. So the next thing we're going to do is, when we actually get these operators right here, we're actually going to round them as well. So these are the 3 things that we need: sum, length, and round. But we actually just need len. Get in the program, it's just len. Okay, great. So we're actually going to make, so what is a sum defined as? It could be defined as the total, or in this case, the total height. So we're going to make a variable called total height. And what did we want this to do? We wanted to get the sum. But of what? Obviously the student heights, because this is what they're inputting. They know what the student height is going to be, and we're going to get the sum of student heights. Great. Now, what could we call the length of how many heights they print? We could do that as number of heights. Actually, number of students would be better. Number of students is equal to what? I mentioned this earlier. Sum, and then there's, what was it? It was length. Equals length of what again? It's student heights, obviously. So we put in student heights. That's great. Okay, now what is this program trying to do? We're trying to find the average height of a list, and we're going to make a variable called average height. And I mentioned this earlier. How do we find the average height, or the average of some numbers? It's the sum divided by the length. So what's our sum right here? It's stored in a variable called total height. So we can do total underscore height. And then we divide it by the length, which is here, number of students. We can just copy and paste this. Divided by number of students. But we actually forgot one thing. We actually, because this might print out decimal, so we're actually just going to use the round function. And then close this with parentheses. Okay, so we can actually run this. But what is this going to give us? What will it give us? What do you think it will give us? You can pause this video and think, just read the code and see what it will do. So we can print in random heights that are separated by a space. Okay, that's great. So what you actually see is just the list that we actually created just by typing these numbers in. This list is actually called n that we made here, but you actually notice that there actually isn't an average height because we actually never printed the average height. So how do we do that? We do print average underscore height. Okay, you're a quick learner if you realize I made a mistake in this last line of code. You see that print is spelled properly, this is spelled properly, but what is it? It's not the parentheses, but it's the double quotations. Because the double quotations, what will happen is that it'll just print what you actually just wrote. So it'll just print average height. So we can do this. We can do random set again. 167, 180, and then there. You see how it just prints average height, but we don't want that. We want what's printed in average height. So we want the total height divided by it. So we actually can just get rid of these double parentheses and then run this again. And then write random okay, that's 5. And we see how we get a number. And this number is just the average of this set of numbers. So what the program did is got the total height, which is the sum of student heights right here. So it got the sum of these numbers, and then it got the length of these numbers, which is 5, and then divided, and then you got it could have been like 187.6 and then rounded it to 188. But this is how you would make a average height program. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.